Hello, and this is program number 4 in our series on Santeria. What do you know about it? Again, I had to look into it because I had been consulted by someone whose child was about ready to be initiated into it. And so I started looking into it, and I really didn't know much about it. I'd heard the word before. So I started looking into it, and this is what I came up with. And this is, as I say, the fourth part of a series of videos on it, preparing an essay that I'm actually reading from that will be available on our earthandvesseljournal.net, just about being ready to be put up today. But I'm preparing this series of videos. This is the fourth one. And I'm going to begin now talking about the fact that Santeria is essentially the worship of saints. Now, it's not exactly the same as saint worship in the Roman Catholic Church, because the saints are another name given to the gods or goddesses of the Orishas, of the Yoruba people that are called Orishas, O-R-I-S-H-A, Orishas, and plural would be Orishas. And these are worshipped in a sense, or they're placated, or they're sought for because of the power that they have, or the Ashi, A-S-H-E, or A-C-H-E. You'll find varying spellings. So Santeria is essentially the worship of these saints. Now, Santeria is a magical religious system. They originally thought that the Orishas were forces of nature. And when you go back into the Yoruba, West African teachings, that is so. But the Orishas have power, and they can be compelled to give that power to the one that properly worships them. So all the various forms of the religion, the rituals, the spells are conducted to get Ashi, or this power from the Orishas. Because with the Ashi, in now working for the member of the religion that is offering the right offerings, all problems can be solved, enemies destroyed, love obtained, wealth secured, even through illegal means. So the Igbo is the sacrifice. It is the offering that is made to the Orisha. And that's the centerpiece of the whole thing. The proper sacrifices may be of fruit, flowers, candles, or other favorite foods, or even the blood of an animal that moves the Orisha to give Ashi. That is magical thinking. That is the heart and soul of magic and witchcraft. Now, the Igbos are complex rituals and are the specialty of the Santeros or the Santeras. That's men and women. They're mostly men, and they are the ones that service the priests of Santeria and perform the Igbos. Now, it should be noted that in Africa, the Yoruba placated both good and evil spirits, and the Santerians say that they only deal with the good spirits. Now, there are some branches of Santeria, the Palao, P-A-L-O, which really are very clearly deal directly with demons and Satan. They don't make any pretense. Santeria tries to make a difference, but in my view, it's one and the same. There's really no such thing as neutral or white magic. All magic is magic, and all magic is black magic. It's dealing with demonic forces who disguise themselves as good or helpful spirits. In fact, Santerians say that the purpose of their religion is to make people's lives better. But do they? Now, one of Santeria's core beliefs is that one's destiny has been determined before birth. Remember, they believe in reincarnation. The soul lives on in many, many reincarnations, and in each one, a person has a particular destiny to fulfill. Of course, this runs counter to the doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church. Santeria is highly regimented and formalized because magic depends on the precise carrying out of the ritual. And the santero, or the priest of the religion, is to be obeyed beyond question, as he knows all and has the answer for everything. It is said that the santero does nothing more than carry out the wishes of the orisa. So the santero tries to hide behind the orisha. And so the santeros are considered to be the actual living presence of the orisha. And it is said that the orishas are, quote, loving friends, but terrible enemies. Typically, the way a demonically organized religion works, it looks beneficial at first, giving good things, power to acquire what somebody needs, but later it turns on to be something else. The high priest of Santeria is called Babalawo. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Babalawo, maybe some you've heard. Remember Desi Arnaz playing the drum? And of course, that Babalawo I've discovered in books on Santeria. He was really talking about the high priest of Santeria. And the Babalawo is synchronized with St. Francis of Assisi. Instead of referring to, by the word Babalawo, they will refer to St. Francis of Assisi. Baba means father, and Awo, A-W-O, at the end of the word means divination. This entity is said to be the judge of Santeria and is to be consulted in difficult cases. This Babalawo or Babalawo always use three different kinds of divination, but all three will determine what Igbo or worship is to be offered to the orisha. The Diloggun, that's a Yoruba word, but it describes the system of divination or fortune telling, and it's most often done with cowrie shells, and they're just shortened to the seashells, and they're thrown in the ground or a table, and their alignment, as determined by the santero, determines what type of sacrifice is to be made by the worshiper who is seeking ashe for some purpose or another. So the person involved in Santeria goes to the santero throws the seashells, and that is to determine, the orisha is to speak through that to determine what kind of sacrifice is to be made, what kind of offering or Igbo is to be made. One last thing before I end the video. Ancestor worship is a big part of Santeria. Centered to it, in the deceased members of the family are known as Egu or Egun, and these Egun must be placated or fed before any ceremony or ritual is directed to the orishas. So there is the connection, there's a connection between what they call the holy dead and the ancestor worship. And of course, there's also a connection to La Santa Muerte here, is the idea that since people have an immortal soul, they can communicate and actually inhabit and possess the individual. And it turns into be quite a whole large case of possession, which I'll get into at another point. So long.